Okay, so before we actually start mixing, we need to check for phase and polarity issues. This is important whenever multiple microphones capture the same sound source, especially with drums. Now let me try to explain phase in the simplest way possible. When a sound happens, like a clap or a snare hit, it reaches each microphone at a slightly different time. This is, of course, if you're recording your own sounds. So let's say you have an acoustic drum kit in your studio and you have multiple microphones to record the sounds that your drum kit is making. You may have close mics that are gonna hear the sound first. You may have overhead mics, which will hear the sound a few milliseconds later. And you may also have room mics, which could hear it even later than overhead mics. Now these tiny timing differences create phase differences, and phase can make your drums sound weak, hollow, or thin if the waveforms don't line up. So let's say my hand is your snare drum. You have a microphone here, you have a microphone here, you have a microphone here. So if I make a sound, it's gonna reach this microphone first, then this one, and then this one. And when the sound reaches the microphone, it's gonna cause issues for your song. Now, what is a close mic or what is an overhead mic? A close mic is basically a microphone placed right next to your drum. It captures punch, attack in very little room. Overheads are two microphones above the drum kit and they capture the whole kit plus cymbals and room sound. And because they're physically farther away, they receive the sound later, and that's why phase issues happen. However, in my track, I didn't actually use live drums. I didn't record a acoustic drum kit, but I just used samples. But we can still demonstrate what would happen if we were to record our own drums and have to deal with this phase issue. So in order to demonstrate what would happen if, let's say, we recorded live drums for our example track here, I'm going to duplicate the snare, right, like this. And now I'm gonna zoom in on the waveform, and I'm also gonna turn it down a little bit. I'm gonna name this snare overhead, and let's say this is our close snare, okay? I'm gonna go all the way back to the beginning here. Now, because the sound reaches the close snare before it reaches the overhead microphone, it's gonna be slightly delayed, and that will look something like this. It's gonna be just slightly off, as you can see here. We solo these two tracks and play it. Now, this is what you may hear because this snare is slightly delayed, which is gonna result in this sound. Now, to fix this, we have to check polarity, and that's the easiest way to hear a phase problem. So we have to solo both tracks, and we have to add a gain plugin on one of them. I'm gonna put a gain on this snare track right here, and then I'm going to, again, we're listening for if the sound suddenly becomes fuller, punchier, louder, then that means the polarity was wrong. And we have to flip it to the version that sounds better. To fix the timing issue, we have to just zoom in on our snare tracks, and we have to see if the peaks are lining up. And if you see something like this, it means they're not lining up. And to fix that, we just have to nudge one of our tracks to the left or right to make them line up, just like this. Because now they're in line, they're aligned perfectly, almost perfectly, slightly. And now, if we play our song, we don't hear that delay anymore. Now, sometimes you may have a whole track that is fine, but just one snare hit may be off. Now, we can just fix only that part by highlighting the problematic section. So let's say that's gonna be here. I'm gonna add a gain plugin, phase invert. This will only flip the polarity for only that small section. And that's basically how phase and polarity issues work.